My mother's voice cut like a knife across the dinner table. "Sharon, you'll never be half the woman your sister is." My fork froze midair. My father chuckled, nodding in agreement while my sister smirked, twirling her diamond bracelet like it was a crown she earned. The whole table erupted in laughter at my expense, and I felt my chest burn as their words echoed. Half the woman. Before I go on, make sure you hit subscribe, drop a like, and share this story, because what happens next will make your jaw drop. I wanted to shout back, to defend myself, but I stayed silent, letting them pile insult after insult. My aunt leaned over and whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Poor Sharon, she's always been the family disappointment." My cousin snorted, covering her mouth as if my pain was a comedy skit. They compared my small apartment to my sister's mansion, my simple job to her flashy lifestyle. Every jab was designed to break me. What none of them knew was that in my purse, tucked in a small envelope, was the proof that everything they believed about me was a lie. My hands shook under the table as I touched it, my heart racing with both fear and excitement. They thought I was powerless, but I was holding an $84,000 secret that would flip this entire dinner upside down. And just when I was about to reveal it, my sister stood up, clinking her glass, ready to humiliate me further in front of everyone. My sister raised her glass, her diamond ring flashing under the chandelier lights. "Let's all toast," she said smugly, "to success, beauty, and real accomplishments. Some of us were just born to shine, while others—" Her eyes slid toward me, dripping with fake sympathy. "We're born to serve the table instead of sitting at it." The room burst into laughter again, and I felt my stomach twist. My father leaned back in his chair, smirking, and muttered, "At least your sister knows how to live. Sharon just exists." I clenched my jaw, forcing myself not to react, because deep down, I knew their laughter would choke in their throats soon enough. My aunt reached for another slice of cake and added, "It's sad, really. Sharon's 30, no husband, no kids, no money. I mean, what else is there in life if you don't have what your sister has?" I watched as my cousin filmed part of it on her phone, probably to share it in the family group chat later, turning me into the punchline once again. But as they mocked me, something shifted inside. My humiliation turned into a strange calm, like the silence before a storm. I looked around the table, my so-called family, who never once stood by me when I struggled. They didn't know the nights I worked double shifts, the mornings I went without sleep, the sacrifices I made. To them I was invisible. But tonight I would make them see me. My sister wasn't done. She leaned closer, lowering her voice but making sure everyone heard. "Don't take it the wrong way, Sharon, but you'll never catch up to me. Some of us are just winners. Some of us aren't." She smiled sweetly, as if her cruelty was charity. I could feel everyone's eyes on me, waiting for me to crumble, waiting for me to prove them right. Instead, I took a slow sip of water and whispered just loud enough for the table to hear. "Funny, because winners don't always see the traps they walk into." My father frowned, my sister blinked, and for the first time all night, the laughter stopped. My hand slid toward my purse where the envelope rested, proof of everything. I had built while they thought I was failing. I was seconds away from revealing the secret that would turn this dinner into the most unforgettable night of their lives. The silence at the table felt heavier than the chandelier above us. My sister tilted her head, confused by my words, and laughed nervously. "Oh, Sharon, stop pretending you've got something going on. Everyone here knows you live paycheck to paycheck. What trap could you possibly set?" My father snorted, "Don't tell me you've come with some fairy tale again. Spare us the embarrassment." I leaned back in my chair, my fingers brushing over the crisp envelope in my purse. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure they could hear it, but on the outside I forced myself to stay calm. I looked each of them in the eye, memorizing their smug faces, their certainty that I was nothing. And then I said softly, "You're right. I've been quiet. I let you believe I was small. But what if I told you I'm the only one here who doesn't need saving?" My cousin snorted, "Please, Sharon. You don't even own a decent car. My dad said you still take the bus sometimes." My cheeks burned, but I kept my eyes locked on her. Yeah? Well, that bus ride got me further than you'll ever imagine. That's when I pulled the envelope from my purse and placed it right in the center of the table. My sister raised a brow, clearly amused. What's this? A letter from your landlord kicking you out? She reached for it, but I stopped her hand. Not yet, I said. Let me have the honor. I slowly opened the flap, letting the suspense stretch until even the clinking of cutlery stopped. My aunt squinted, my father leaned forward, and my sister folded her arms, waiting to laugh again. But when I slid the papers out, the first line was clear. Account balance, $84,312.59. For a second, no one spoke. My father blinked, his smirk frozen. My aunt's fork slipped out of her hand and hit the plate with a sharp clang. My sister snatched the papers, scanning them furiously, her lips trembling as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing. This can't be real, she stammered. I smiled, finally tasting the power that had been building in silence for years. Every extra hour, every sleepless night, every time you mocked me for working instead of partying, this is where it led. I didn't waste money on fancy cars or designer bags. I built something you didn't even notice. My father's face darkened, my sister's hand shook, and my cousin muttered, No way. Sharon can't have more money than us. That's when I leaned in and whispered, Oh, honey, this is just the beginning. My sister's hand trembled as she held the papers, her glossy smile slipping into something bitter and sharp. This must be fake, she spat, her voice cracking under the weight of disbelief. You, with $84,000? What did you do, win the lottery? I leaned forward, locking eyes with her. No lottery. No shortcuts. Just hard work and discipline while you laughed at me for not living like you. My aunt scoffed, desperate to regain control of the moment. Even if it's true, Sharon, money isn't everything. You're still single, no children, no real family of your own. What's the point of all that cash if you have no one to share it with? Her words stung, but I didn't flinch. Instead, I let a slow smile creep across my face. Funny, because last time I checked, none of you called me family either. Not when I was struggling. Not when I needed support. So don't pretend to care now. The tension was electric. My father's jaw tightened, and I could see his pride cracking in front of everyone. He slammed his palm against the table, making glasses rattle. Enough. Sharon, don't embarrass us with this nonsense. Your sister has worked hard to bring honor to this family. Don't try to steal her spotlight with your numbers on a piece of paper. But my cousin couldn't resist. She leaned over, peeking at the bank statement again, her eyes widening. Dad, it's real. This is legit. Look at the stamp. Look at the printout. She really has it. For the first time, I saw fear in my father's eyes. Fear that the daughter he dismissed, the one he never bragged about, had become someone powerful right under his nose. My sister's face flushed red. She stood up, slamming her chair back. You think this makes you better than me? You think having money suddenly erases the fact that you're nothing without us? She pointed her manicured finger in my face, her voice shaking with rage. Don't forget, you've always been second best. Always. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just let her rant because the louder she grew, the smaller she looked. And then I dropped the line that would cut her deeper than any number ever could. You're right. I was second best. Until tonight. Now I'm the one holding the keys to a future none of you saw coming. The entire table gasped, and before they could recover, I added in a whisper that carried through the silence. And you have no idea how much bigger my secret really is. My sister's finger was still shaking in my face when I calmly slid another folder from my purse. This one wasn't just an envelope. It was thick, heavy, and sealed. The color drained from her face. My father's eyes narrowed as if he already knew this wasn't going to end well for him. I placed it on the table slowly, deliberately. You think 84,000 was the surprise? I said, my voice steady but sharp. That was just the appetizer. Here's the main course. The room went dead quiet. I opened the folder and spread out the documents like playing cards. Deeds, contracts, proof of ownership. My aunt leaned forward, squinting. My cousin gasped, covering her mouth. My father's hand shook as he grabbed one paper, scanning it with disbelief. This is the deed to the Parker Street building, he muttered. That's right, I said, smiling coldly. The same building you tried to invest in and lost. I bought it. Cash. It earns me rent every single month. While you mocked me for taking the bus, I was collecting keys. My sister snatched another paper, her voice breaking. No, this says you own the downtown cafe? The one everyone goes to? I leaned back, enjoying the shock ripple through them. Yes, the same cafe you take your friends to every Sunday. The one you brag about loving on Instagram? You've been filling my pockets every time you ordered your overpriced latte. Her jaw dropped. My father sank back in his chair, suddenly looking older, smaller. My aunt shook her head in disbelief. How did you do this? When? I finally let the truth spill, my voice low but fierce, while you laughed at me. Every insult, every time you called me a failure, it fueled me. I worked double shifts. I cut corners on myself so I could invest in something bigger. You thought I was weak, but I was building a life none of you could touch. My sister's face twisted with rage. You're lying. You can't be smarter than me. You can't. I cut her off, leaning across the table so close she could see the fire in my eyes. You're right. I'm not smarter than you. I'm stronger. Because while you were busy shining for attention, I was busy building something real. And now, I glanced at the stunned faces surrounding me. Now, you need me more than I'll ever need you. The weight of my words hung heavy in the air. For once, no one laughed. No one mocked. They just sat there, staring at the woman they had dismissed, realizing the balance of power had shifted forever. I gathered my papers, tucked them back neatly into the folder, and stood. Dinner's over, I said, my voice cutting through the silence like glass. And so is the version of me you thought you knew. As I walked away from that table, their silence followed me, thick, stunned, powerless. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like half of anything. I felt whole. I felt unstoppable.